Hey everybody, this is Alex from Archer. I'm joined here today with Thomas from Norwegian Cruise Line. Thomas, how are you?
I am excellent.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here with us. Listen everybody, Thomas is here to share some updates regarding NCL and he's got some insider tips for you. So without further ado, I'm going to let Thomas take it away. Thomas?
All right, thank you, Alex. Let's get going. Let me see here. Awesome, Alex, if you could just go on to the next slide. So hi everybody, my name is Thomas Chang. I am your Key Accounts Director for Archer Travel. Please reach out to me for any questions. I know a lot of times you guys will reach out to the local rep, but Archer being such a large account with Norwegian, they actually assigned me as the main contact. My contact information is on there. I'm gonna go over some stuff today, and if you need the full PowerPoint, if you want it, let me shoot me an email and I'll send you the PowerPoint in PDF format. Now, what we're going to over today, I'm going to talk about the NCL difference. I always recap a little thing about Norwegian, what we're all about. I'm going to talk about the current promotion. We actually have a really rich promotion going on right now. Some quick brand update. And really what I really want to talk about is my vacation through Northern Europe. I just came back from my vacation. So I'm going to talk about it, and hopefully that would inspire you to book a cruise to Northern Europe, or even talk to your clients about going possibly to Northern Europe. Most of the information I'm going to share is going to be about the ports, right? So you can use it across all the other products, not just Norwegian. But Alex, if you could get on to the next slide. Thank you. So guys, what is NCL all about? We are known as a freestyle cruise line in that we don't have assigned dining times. We have resort casual attire. We have actually a lot of activities happening at the same time. I know on a lot of the cruise lines, they try to funnel all the guests into one specific area of the ship. But with Norwegian, we always have pockets of activities happening at the same time. So there's something to do with everybody, for everyone. We have, and so we have something for the solo travelers. We have something for the family, the family cabins. We have something for the young adults. So it's really, really different experience compared to what your typical contemporary cruise line would be. If you can go to the next slide, Alex. Mm-hmm. Norwegian, we are known to bundle our fare with more. I know our fare is a little bit higher because of the bundling, but if your clients enjoy open bar, enjoy specialty dining, right? Norwegian is a cruise line for them. When your clients book with Norwegian, we automatically include more at sea, and that is the unlimited open bar, specialty dining, buy one get one air free, shore excursion credit, Wi-Fi packages, and on selected sailing 3rd and 4th sail free. Now, on the open bar and the specialty dining, we give the package for free, but we do charge a service charge, right? So for the drinks is about $30 per person per day. Specialty dining, the service charge is $20 per meal. Now that, obviously that doesn't sound so great if you're thinking, wait, if it's all inclusive, then how come, you're not including the service fee? But that's just the way this package is created. I wish I could change it, but I want to be upfront with you. This is a great deal, right? Like if you go on any other lines, if you get the beverage package, usually it's at $100 per person per day with gratuities. But with Norwegian, it's $30 per person per day. And also, you are, we don't have a limit. So on some other lines, they might cap you at 15 drinks, including sodas. But for Norwegian, as long as you're not drunk starting fights, you can have as much alcohol as you want. And specialty dining, $20 is actually a great deal. For those of you who's been on Norwegian's specialty dining, it's pretty much you should get it. It'll be a shame if you don't. But you don't have to get these packages. So you can opt out of it. So if you're not a drinker, if your client is not a drinker, you don't have to get the unlimited open bar. Alex, can you go to the next slide, please? So I just want to show you, this is a picture of the ships that we currently have at sea. So 20 ships with the 21st ship, the Norwegian Luna coming next year. We do sell all over the world. And you know, each ship is a little bit different. There's multiple classes. I could talk about it and it's gonna take an hour, but I just want to let you know that usually the bigger ships are going to the bigger usual destinations like the Caribbean, Alaska. But if you want to go to the exotic location, more often than not, you have to go with the smaller ships. So because some of those ports are just smaller. Next slide, please. I also want to take a point in mentioning Norwegian's group program. We actually have the industry's best group program. We give 1 TC for every 10 berth. So every 5 cabins, you're getting a tour conductor credit, right? So for those of you who don't know about tour conductor credits, that's a lot of the travel suppliers. We want to encourage groups, and we do that by offering you additional commission. So tour conductor credit is basically additional commission, but it's based on the cruise fare, right? So let's say you sell 10 $1,000 cruise fare cruise with Norwegian, you get a free $1,000 towards that group as an incentive. Industry standard is 1 for 16 berth every 8 cabins, but for Norwegian is 1 for 10 berth. So berth in this sense, it means bed, right? So usually for every cruise line, we count bed as first guest 1 and guest 2 of each cabin. If you have third and fourth, usually they're sleeping on a like a futon, a pull-out bed. We don't usually count those as a regular berth. So berth, guest 1 and guest 2. So 5 cabins, you get a tour conductor credit. We also give group discount depending on how far away you're booking, right? And that's off of the market fare that we have on the ncl.com website. So, you know, if you're blocking far enough ahead of time, if a balcony is showing as $1,000, when you block it in group, it's, you know, you get a 15% discount. So you save for your clients. Next slide, please. On top of that, we also give group amenities. I know other lines would give a group, they will give points. But for Norwegian, we just have a set amenity. Each cabin can choose either group A or group B amenity. And also they get a bonus amenity, either $100 on board credit or $100 bonus commission. There's other stuff on there. I generally don't recommend them because I think the best use of the amenity is the onboard credit and the bonus commission or the bonus commission. And you know this, and we will honor the perks starting at cabin number 1, right? So if you block a group, only 1 cabin set sail. We'll still give you the bonus amenity, and we will still honor the group discount. Next slide, please. So I want to talk about the current promo. Next slide, please, Alex. Right now we actually have I sent in this PowerPoint presentation a couple days ago. There has been an update. We're extending this promotion. I actually will send out an email later on my email blast. We're having something called a dash sale, where the clients can get up to $100 on board credit, and this promotion ends on September 30th. I know on the screen it says the 22nd, but it's actually been extended to the 30th. It automatically applies as long as your clients are booking, you know, for example, if they're booking a suite or the Haven, on a 5+ night sailing, you get up to $600 on board credit. And on specific ships, it's on that list, it's up to $1,000. So I will send out an email about this. And it's a very rich offer. We haven't had this kind of rich offer for many months. This is, you know, we're trying to close out the quarter. So if you have clients thinking about traveling, now is a great time. Next slide, please, Alex. We're also doing a Travel Leaders exclusive. Next slide. And this is there's some limitations. So it's only for sailings on October 1st to January 31st. And only for sailings that's going to the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and the Mexican Riviera. And they are for balconies and above. I know there's a lot of limitations, but this is actually a very rich deal where if they're in a balcony or above, we will cover the prepaid service gratuity. And that's usually $20 per person per day. This is for guest 1 and guest 2 only, right? So on a 7-day sailing with 2 guests, that's $280 for the sailings in the Bahamas, Caribbean, and Mexican Riviera. This is not combinable with the dash sail, but the dash sail will only be better if you're booking a suite or above, right? So this is still a very rich offer. For those of you who's on the West Coast, just to give you an example, I know the Norwegian Jade is going to doing a 7-day Mexican Riviera from San Diego, and you can get it for a balcony for less than $100 per person per day, and that including with the free prepaid service gratuity is actually a great deal. Next slide, please, Alex. And guys, I'm gonna get to the fun part, right? I just gotta do these this admin stuff first. I want to let you guys know. There's also another promotion that's been running, and again, I shouldn't have included this because dash sale was gonna end September 20th, and this was gonna pick up right after it. But right now the dash sale is more rich than this offer. But just keep in mind with Norwegian, we do have a lot of times running offers with travel leaders, and sometimes even directly with Archer Travel. And a lot of times those promotions just automatically are included when you book. So your clients just automatically get additional perks that's otherwise not available if they were to book online. So something to sell the value of your profession. And I think not only to Norwegian, I know there are other suppliers that work exclusively with travel leaders and with Archer Travel. So take advantage of that. Talk to your clients, when you advertise, say, hey, reach out to me. We have travel agency exclusive to kind of, extend your value. Next slide, please. I know this is very small. I just, hopefully when I pass out these PowerPoint presentation, you can take a look. This is just some price point on what we're having on those Caribbean. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
I got this,
Alex. Yeah. So, if you're looking at it, for example, on the top right corner, Norwegian Escape, October 11th, from New York to New Orleans, right? A 14-day sailing on a balcony is $13.39, and that includes the free prepaid service gratuity. It's less than $100 per person per day, and it's a no-brainer. It's more expensive to stay home, and you get to go out of New York and in New Orleans. That's really a no-brainer. But for those of you who want it, please feel free to reach out, and I'll send you the PowerPoint presentation. And also, yesterday I mentioned about how on Norwegian's agent portal you can download something called Sales Pal, where we actually list out all these lead-in price point for our sailings. Alex, next slide, please. Awesome. Updates. So we have a couple updates for you. Next slide, please, Alex. I want to talk about our private island. So Norwegian, we are actually offering, not offering, Norwegian actually has the first private island in the industry called the Great Stirrup Cay. We are adding improvements to it. I know by year end, by November, December, we're gonna have our own dock. Previously it's all tender. We're also gonna add a whole bunch of new things to it. Alex, next slide, please. I don't actually have the completion date for each of these little things, but we're adding more things. We want to make it more enticing. Previously, the island is really just a relaxation spot where people go to the beach. We do have some water sports, but we're expanding on that. We're adding more pools. We're adding a kind of influencer bridge, splash pads. We're actually adding water parks, jet carts, racetrack, not really racetrack, I guess water track, but we're adding a whole bunch of things. I actually have a presentation that's geared towards this, and that's 1 hour long. Obviously, we're not here for that. We're here to talk about my vacation. So, but I just want you to be aware that if you're sailing the Caribbean, it's more likely than not that Norwegian sailing is going to go straight to, it's going to include the Great Stirrup Key, our private island, and I just want you to know we're adding a whole bunch of additional amenities on it for your clients to enjoy. Next slide, please, Alex. I also want to take the opportunity to remind you that we recently announced our 2027 itineraries back in August, early August. I did a presentation with you guys before, but I just wanted to remind you again. If you guys want to learn more about it, check out my last presentation. It was, I think I talked about the new itineraries for 30 minutes. But just to give you an idea, if you can go to the next slide, please, Alex. The itineraries were for summer, for Alaska, for Bermuda, Caribbean, and for Europe. Yesterday I mentioned Europe. Norwegian, we go to more destinations, we stay longer. So in Europe, we actually for sailing, we're 90% in port. With 8 ships, we're ranked #1 cruise line to Europe in multiple publications. So that's something we're really proud of. I want to talk about Bermuda really quick. We go out of Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. Especially out of New York, we actually go out of the Manhattan Cruise Terminal. So you sail past the Statue of Liberty. Other lines, they go out of New Jersey, they go out of Bronx. They don't actually see this. Well, they can see Statue of Liberty on like a little corner, but they don't actually sail past it. I did it this past April. I thought it was wonderful. Alaska, obviously one of the most popular destinations. We have the Bliss, Encore, Jade, and Joy for the 2027 sailing. I do recommend the 9-day sailing because the 7 days, I feel like for all the cruise lines, we don't stay in long enough at each port. If you do the 9-day round trip sailing from Seattle, you actually stay longer at each port, and that's very important. You also stay longer at the Glacier Bay National Park. If you were in my training yesterday, I talked about how we have a national rangers on board talking to you about the national park while we're in Glacier Bay. So that's something very interesting. Caribbean, we do a bunch of Caribbean from every imaginable port you can think of that other cruise lines go out of, like Galveston, Miami, Port Canaveral, Jacksonville. We do South Caribbean, Western Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean. If you tell me to choose, I always recommend the Southern Caribbean. I feel like you get a mix of different cultures, and your clients will come back happier, personally, compared to the Eastern or the Western Caribbean. Now, next slide, please, Alex. All right, finally, the fun stuff. Thank you for bearing with me. I try to cut through, the 20 minutes of kind of admin work for you. Hopefully, I didn't drive too many people away. But now I want to talk about London to Reykjavik. That I took this 11-day cruise on the Norwegian Prima, and the ports are actually London from Southampton, which is about a 2-hour drive from the London, the city itself. We go to Bruges, and it's in Brussels, and Amsterdam, Netherlands, Bergen, Norway, Geiranger, Norway, Alesund, Norway, and then Akureyri, Iceland, Ísafjörður, Iceland, and ending in Reykjavik, Iceland. Now I'm going to talk about each port at I'm going to talk about each port, what I did, what I recommend, and again, if you guys want to have the slides, reach out to me. I'll send you the PowerPoint presentation. All right, now let's get going. Alex, next slide, please. So the first day I went to London. I've been to London before. This was my second time. I flew. It was a nonstop flight from Los Angeles, landing in the Heathrow Airport. It's actually quite a way from the city. It's about an hour from the city, but you can actually take the tube very intuitive. It's if you're from Los Angeles, like we barely have any public transportation, you would never want to take a train or public transportation from the airport into the city. But not so much in London, right? They have multiple options. What I did was me and my travel buddy Tony, we went to another college, but another friend of ours who lives in Westminster. We just took the tube. It was an hour ride. For those of you who's never been to London, you don't even need to get the British pounds, right? Everything is all electronic now. You can load your credit card into your phone. You go to the train station. You just beep it, and then you're done. You don't even have to figure out where you're going. It's very intuitive. So I went to London. For those of you who's never been, there's a lot of museum. If you love the cultural stuff, lots of things to do. You can see Big Ben, of course. You can see I would recommend going to the Windsor Castle, Bath. It's a city where the old Roman emperor, the old Roman generals, they usually come to the UK. They go to Bath for a vacation. There's some wonderful ruins there that you could visit. I also saw Stonehenge my previous time to London. It was really impressive for the first 5 minutes, but at the end of the day, it's a bunch of stones. I got kind of bored of it at the end, but that's one of those things where you kind of want to check off your bookmark, right? Like your checklist. Like, hey, once in a lifetime, I'm in Bath. I'm gonna take a picture and show your clients. But what I found very interesting here this time around is the bar culture. I flew straight from Los Angeles to Heathrow. It was an afternoon flight, but when we landed in London, it was 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock noon, and we just drank until nighttime. It was actually the bar culture in London is actually amazing. It was a Sunday, and you can actually see a whole bunch of locals who I guess it's a little bit different depending on which city you're from. But in Los Angeles, you rarely see people bar hopping because the public transportation is not that easy. But in London, people bar hop, and there's no TV. People are not on their phone. Everyone's engaging on talking. So, anyways, wonderful experience. If you never bar hop in London or in the UK, I highly recommend that you do. So, anyways, going to Southampton. Southampton, the port that most cruise lines sail out of when they say, "Oh, we're sailing out of London." It's actually 2 hours south of London. And what we did, you could always get a bus transfer. Usually it's like 80 pounds to go per person. But you can actually take the tube to Waterloo Station, where it's one of the biggest transit hub for trains in London. And I paid for a first class ticket. It was like 20 pounds. But you could have paid, economics, the regular seats for half as much. I would actually recommend you that you could just get a regular ticket. I purchased first class thinking that we would have gotten a space for luggage, because if I was traveling in Japan or in Taiwan, in Barcelona, in Spain, when I purchased or even Trieste. When I took the train from Venice to Trieste, if you're in first class, they actually have room to put your luggage. But for that specific route, for Southampton, at least the train in UK, we didn't have any place to put, even for first class, to put our luggage, right? So you don't have to spend that additional pound, but it's just nice if you have that money. It's very easy. It's a straight shot. You get to the port, or get to the train station. It's actually a 10-minute walk from the train station to the port. I would actually just recommend getting a taxi, just because it's not a straight shot. Like, there's curves and hills you have to walk through. But the taxi drivers did tell us that, hey, look, if there are 3 or 4 ships in port, the taxi route is going to take a long time. You might as well just walk, right? But when I went, there was only the Norwegian Prima, so it wasn't that big of a deal. The terminal is clean, very easy to navigate. And for those of you who's never been to Europe, their cruise terminals are usually way better than what we have here in the States, because it's a great, most European country, they're very tourism focused, and their cruise ports are ready to service clients. But so very easy to get to, very clean. When I got to the port, it took less than 10 minutes to get to a bar and start drinking. So that's really the day one of my trip. But let's go to the next slide, Alex. See, that one slide took 5 minutes, right? Isn't it more interesting than talking about boring stuff like pricing and promotion? So day two, Bruges. I know a lot of times, so Bruges is in Belgium, and actually Bruges, this is the closest city to where the cruise ship docks. The cruise ship docks in Zurich. I can't even pronounce it. Zeeburgie. It's on the screen. Zeeburgie. I'm Asian. I can't curl my tongue. But so what happened is, most people would either visit Bruges, which is the closest tourism city, or some people would actually take another bus or a train to go to Belgium, Brussels, right? But I talked to a lot of travel advisors, and they always say Bruges is actually a better spot to visit than Belgium. So that's what I did. And for those of you who's been to a European cruise at each port, most cruise line would offer a transfer from the port to the city itself. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's not. Really depends on the city. In this case, from Zeeburg, the port. I'm just gonna say the port. From the port to Bruges, you can actually get onto a bus transfer for 30 euros round trip. So you can get there. You pay 30 euros local. You can just pay right when you get there, and you will be on the bus with 50 other people. But me, I travel long enough to know that, okay, I don't want to wait for a whole bus of people to be loaded and then, get to the city. I value my time more. So me and my travel buddy, Tony, we paid a one-way taxi ride from the port to Bruges, and it was 55 euro. Personally, I think it's a great spend of money, because between me and Tony, if we taken the bus, it would have been 60 euros round trip, right? But in this case, it's 110 round trip. But again, it's once in a lifetime. I want to get there, and so I got there before Tony and I got there before the other 1,000 people waiting for that bus transfer get to Bruges. So one thing about Bruges, if you see that left tower on the left picture, there's a tower. It's called the Belfort. It's the tallest tower in the city of Bruges. It's about 350 steps, right? So we got there early. We actually purchased a ticket ahead of time so we can climb the tower. And imagine if you're on a bus and you get to the city, there's already 50 people that's lining up to try to get a ticket to see the tower, right? So, but we got there first. I climbed the tower. I thought it was very nice. You get to see a unobstructed view of the city. Bruges, there's a lot of canals, so we took a canal cruise also, like a canal tour. It was about 20 euros per person. Is it 20 euros? 20 euros per person. I thought it was wonderful because we go through the canal. The driver, the sailor, the driver, explained the city to us. Wonderful views. And one thing about canals in Northern Europe that I found is that the canals in Northern Europe, they actually, at least the cities I've been to, so Amsterdam, Bruges, they don't excrete their sewage into the canal, right? So the canal is clean, like it's clean. But if you've been to Venice, the canal doesn't smell as nice. That's just my observation. But I took a canal cruise. We walked around. There's a lot of interesting shops. The chocolate, the Belgian chocolate is awesome. I got waffles. We our driver, our boat driver, our guide actually recommend a local restaurant called Cambrinus. It's the god of wine, god of beer, god of alcohol, I think. And there's 50 different types of Belgian beer. So my friend and I, we had a great time. We stayed there for like 2 hours, drinking, eating mussels, and eating Flemish beef soup. Wonderful city. I definitely would go back again. Actually, I heard a lot of Europeans. They would actually do like a weekend getaway at this location, at this city, because it's very, very relaxing. Granted, they told me that on the weekend there's a lot of people, but again, this is it gives you a tourist vibe. Lots of things to see, to explore. But that's it for day 2. Let's go on to the next slide for day 3. So Amsterdam. Amsterdam is beautiful. And the great thing about this too, where the ship is actually docked in the center of town. If you look at the map, right, like Amsterdam is all the way inland, and I only found out about this after I've been in the cruise, after I got there, is that for cruise ship to actually visit Amsterdam, we're sailing through locks, canal locks, and from the North Sea to the city Amsterdam, it's a 3-hour cruise, right? So you go through a water lock, and you have to sail the river for 3 hours before you actually get into Amsterdam. But the great thing about this is you're docked right in the heart of the city. I just walked, and we started walking. One thing we did is, I made a point, because everyone tells me, you have to go to Anne Frank's house. So, and I will warn you, right? A lot with Norwegian, and I'm sure with other cruise lines too, you will have shore excursions. You can buy shore excursions to visit the Anne Frank's house. But if you actually check the description, you walk by the Anne Frank's house, but you don't actually get to go into the museum, because the city itself, the government agency who oversees the Anne Frank Foundation, does not allow tour groups to buy tickets to go in. So if you're buying shore excursions through a river cruise or from Norwegian Cruise Line, the Anne Frank's shore excursion, you're just walking around the perimeter. If you want to visit the actual museum, you actually have to put a calendar alarm for yourself. Find out when that specific date. Usually they release the ticket dates a month beforehand. So you have to get online and reserve the ticket yourself if you want to actually go in, right? So I saw a whole bunch of people from my cruise. They just showed up thinking they're gonna get a ticket to visit, but they could not, because it was sold out a month ago. And I did the homework and actually bought the ticket. It is a very sobering experience. I know growing up, we read about Anne Frank when we're talking about World War II, but it's one thing to read about it and actually crawl through like the little doorways where they're hiding, and then you see the actual kitchen and the rooms they're staying in. It's very sobering, and they actually have a great audio guide for you that's included in your admissions, and it's a very interesting experience, and I highly recommend it. And actually next to like the Anne Frank's house, because it's such a tourist attraction, they actually have a bunch of stuff littered right around it. And one thing that they have is canal tours. There's multiple companies that does canal tours. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. We walked to Anne Frank's house from the pier. It was like 40-minute walk. It was a wonderful experience because the city is beautiful. And we just chose the canal cruise that was just about to happen. It was like 20 euros, 30 euros. They took us around the town, explained the building structures, and I found out a lot of the houses in Amsterdam is called gay houses because they're not straight, they're crooked. I'm kidding. That's a joke I learned from the tour guide, but I thought it was kind of funny. But it just the city is built on stilts, right? Because they're built on canals kind of like the buildings in Venice, and sometimes the foundation gets, sinks in a little bit, and that's why the houses are crooked. But that's, nothing you can do about that. But it's a wonderful city. I know when I came back, all my friends look at me weird and say, "Hey, did you and Tony go to the red light district?" We walked past it, but it was, I know two guys traveling. People usually assume, yeah, you guys were in Amsterdam, and then wink, wink, like, what did you do? But it was interesting. You walk through it. Everything you read about Amsterdam, kind of true. But we were so busy just exploring the city. That's and it was early in the morning because the most cruise ship leaves at 5. So I guess we didn't see the full red light district, but it was interesting. You see like 3-story tall, and then there's like glasses and girls standing in front. But that's another story. We went there more for the food. Like Amsterdam, lots of great beer. So I drank we probably drank a couple of 4 or 5 beers just while we're just walking around. But now that's day 3 for Amsterdam. Can you go on to the next slide, Alex? So day 4, Bergen. This is actually so for those of you, if you're just listening and not looking at the screen, you can tell I'm kind of big. I love to eat. I love to eat, and I think I had the best food in Bergen, Norway. And I love seafood, and I actually found out that 50% of the world's sushi came from Norway, and Bergen is the biggest seafood port in Norway. And they actually have a fish market right by the dock. So the ship, again, dock in the center of town. We actually purchased a shore excursion from Norwegian because I was looking online from a third-party vendor. I know personally, if you were to ask me when I book a cruise, if the cruise is not going to, like South Africa or South America, where each port is very far from each other, like if you miss like getting onto the ship, you're kind of screwed. But in Europe, usually the port is right next to each other. Like if you miss a ship, you can probably catch up to the ship the next day by getting on the plane or getting on a train even, right? So for Europe, I usually would recommend booking third party, just because third party a lot of times it's a more immersive experience, and it's usually it's a smaller group and it's cheaper. But so for day 5 Bergen, I think we kind of booked too late, so we couldn't find any shore excursion for that port via third party. So I booked it through Norwegian, and it's let me see what the name of the excursion is called. Bergen by land and sea. We took a boat. They took us around. They talk about the city, and then we got on the bus. They drove us through a couple of landmarks. But if it was up to me, if I were to redo this whole day again, I would just go to the fish market and just eat the whole day, guys. Trust me, the food is so fresh. I think I spent like $400 eating sushi and king crabs, and it's amazing. If I were to go back, I would just eat the whole day, and that's how much fun I was having just eating the food.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's hard to describe. You just have to be there, guys. So, but of course, there's beautiful. The town has a lot of history. They're very proud of the town. I think 50% of the town was burned down in like the early 1900s, so they had to they rebuilt it. And apparently, a lot of countries chipped in and helped rebuild the city. But there's a lot of culture in that town. But again, for me, going back, I'm gonna just eat my brains out. Brains out. Is that a right description?
Yeah,
no,
that sounds right.
I'm just gonna eat a lot if I go back. All right, guys, I need to speed up because we only have like 20 minutes left, and we're only at day 5. Next slide, Alex. So day 6, Geiranger. So I joined Norwegian Cruise Line in 2018, and one of the most picturesque ads. Well, not ad, the most beautiful picture in the 2018 Worldwide Sailing Guide for Norwegian was a picture of the Norwegian Getaway sailing into Geiranger. All right, and when I saw that picture, I always told myself I'm gonna make a point. I'm gonna visit it, and I finally made a dream come true. 7 years, 7 years, 40 pounds later, I'm there. It's pictures doesn't do it justice, right, guys? This is like a little town. I think they only have like 100 people that actually lives in the actual town of Geiranger, and but then when Norwegian pulls in, we brought in 4,000 passenger, and I think a Viking ship was down a bit from us, and they had to tender it in. But the view is beautiful. Just imagine sailing in the Nordic fjords, right? So guys, this is two mountain areas, and then salt water in the middle. And you sail through it, you have waterfalls from the glacier, like glacier melting, so you have waterfalls falling all over. It's really one of, I would highly recommend it if you're a nature lover, if you're a big hiker. We booked with Norwegian because this is a town of 100 actual residents. So as you can imagine, there's not that there was not that many options, and actually a lot of the tour guides that we met that day. So the Norwegian tour guide that we had, that I booked the Norwegian cruise line, was telling us, oh, she's actually from Alesund, and what happens is a lot of the tour companies would drive their bus and the guide to Geiranger, do the tour, and drive back and meet us the next day at Alesund. So and that's what happened. But anyways, if you were to go there, definitely do the I can't even pronounce it. I'm gonna look at the name, Dalsniba Mountain. So if you're looking at the pictures, the bottom two right pictures of me smiling very awkwardly, it's two guys trying to take pictures of each other, so they're not great. But anyways, like that's we're on our way to the top of the Dalsniba Mountain. It's actually, because pictures is hard to describe, but when you actually see it in person, you see you see a vantage view, and you see a fjord of river and a city down below and the ship. It's really a wonderful sight. And then if you look at I actually don't have that picture here, but after the Dalsniba Mountain, they take us to Eagle Row, which goes the opposite way, and you get to see the fjord from a different view. So that's also quite an experience. I know a lot of people on the ship, they actually hiked. And what we did, and I found out later because I met a couple of tourists who done this exact cruise before, is that they rented cars. So there's actually a lot of cars, a lot of like the locals would park a car in Geiranger in the summer, and you can rent the car and you just drive, right? So for this cruise, I was on the bus with 50 other people, but if you're brave enough to drive the snaky road up the mountain, you rent a car and you have a better experience. You're not on a bus schedule. But also there are other stuff to do. Like I was on a rib tour. It's rapid inflatable boats rides that we just booked right because we had a couple hours to kill after doing the tour. Other people would hike, but we decided to take the boat, and then we were zipping through the fjords, checking out the waterfalls and learning about how in Norway there's not a lot of farmable lands. So literally there will be farmers like that will build their farm on a cliff. So maybe there's maybe like a little snippet of land, and they would have to hike like a whole day to get from the top of the mountain to the river. But there's only so many farmable lands in Norway. That's what they did. 100. So literally on the river, like we saw farms that are 200, 300 years old. For just kind of, it's kind of interesting. But next slide, Geiranger, you definitely should definitely make a point of visit. Now, Alesund, this was the last port that we have in Norway. We actually have I actually did another tour with Norwegian. I shouldn't have done it because personally, I feel like I would have had a better time if I just walk around town. But I did get to see the Godoy Island lighthouse. The view was amazing. But I feel like, and then we went to open air museum. They were talking about how in the olden days, the Norwegians, they would build their houses on stilts to prevent, the rats and the animals or the bears, that would go up to the building to get their stored food. But I think Alesund is actually a very cool town. And if I were to do it again, I will probably just walk around town instead of like a bus tour. But I booked this cruise kind of late because I thought when I booked it that this was supposed to be our last year visiting Norway as a cruise line, because the Norwegian government actually said that they were going to ban all the cruise ship from visiting Nordic fjords starting next year. And they announced it 2024 November. Like literally 2024 November, they say, all right, guys, 2025, last year for cruises. And starting in 2026, only ships that has 0% emission can go into the Nordic fjords, right? No cruise ship has that kind of capacity. So every cruise line basically, announced that they're going to pull out 2027 or 2026. So this was the last year I booked it, and if you were listening to me last year, I was telling you guys about it. But of course, the Norwegian government, they found out what they thought cruise line would have somehow find a way to have 0% emission. Yeah, sure, in 1 year, right? So in March of this year, they say, oh guys, just kidding, we'll delay it after talking with our cruise line partners. And then they say, we moved the deadline to 2032, right? So it goes to show you the misinformation. But anyways, so Norwegian, we're not going to Norway in 2026, but we're going back in Oh, actually no, we added itineraries back on after that announcement. But anyways, I went off topic. Let's go to the next slide, Alex. Itinerary. So Iceland, it's so lucky for me because Norwegian on this whole cruise we had 1 hour of 1 hour of rain for 11 days. So every day else it was sunny, and Iceland. You probably heard a lot about it. I did an excursion for Game of Thrones excursion. I saw where Jon Snow learned about what a woman is, in that cave, in that exact spot I was waving at. I saw a bunch of, I saw the Goldest waterfall. I saw the geothermal pits. So very wonderful. It's pictures doesn't do it justice. Iceland is something you definitely should check out. So let me go to the next slide. Day 9 Isafjordur. I've went on probably 100+ shore excursions, and I only probably remember less than 5 guides, but a great tour guide will really make and break your client's experience. And I would actually recommend Sonia from Arctic SureX, and that's her business company name, S&S Blair and Off. So she does. I booked her through Project Expedition. It's a Mercedes Sprinter van that fits 20 people. She was a great guy, very knowledgeable. She planned it out great. We climbed we climbed on the Djandi water mountain, so we saw that waterfall. It's about a 40-minute hike. It's actually pretty tough. A lot of people gave up halfway through. But if you have the mentality to go through it, and definitely bring hiking shoes. A lot of the people's mistake is they were on their regular sneakers. And if you're going to Iceland and Norway, bring hiking shoes, because there's a lot of places where you need a hike and obviously you're gonna have a really bad time when you fall down. Now, I took a picture of a wonderful pie and beer, but in this picture you probably notice the Northern Lights. So we were really lucky. Like I mentioned earlier, weather was clear, right? And I know as we're leaving Isafjordur, we had, like I was in bed already, but then suddenly there was like loud noises outside, and to be honest, it was the Spanish kids like from Spain. Like there's a bunch of teenagers that would just party on the pool deck, and we hear them all the time. But it was extra loud, and we're like, God damn, those kids, and we're gonna go out and yell at them. And then that's when we noticed, oh, they're so loud because the Northern Light, was. And I'm so glad I walked out because it's quite a beautiful sight. It lasted for like 2 hours, and it changes. It's once in a lifetime experience for me. I'm just so glad I seen it. I saw it before when I was in Fairbanks in Alaska, but I was in the city, right? So there's a lot of light pollution. But here we were on the ocean sailing on the west coast of Iceland, right? So it's just the ocean, the sky, and the ship. And then there's a little light from the ship, but it was really a once in a lifetime experience. So I don't guarantee Northern Light for your clients, but if you want to see the Northern Light, you want to sail Northern Europe in September. All right, so next slide. So day 10 and 11, we're ending in Iceland, Reykjavik. We actually overnight in Reykjavik. For those of you who's been to Iceland, you would know that Iceland hotel is extremely expensive. There, it's like it starts at $400 or $500 a night, right? It starts. So the ability to have to be able to start from the ship was actually very nice. And we did the Golden Circle tour. So we visited the Gullfoss waterfall. We saw the geothermal geyser. Went to a national park called Thingvellir. We cheaped out because as you can imagine, 11 days, shore excursion basically almost every day. It was a lot of money. So we booked like the cheapest third-party shore excursions that we could find. And thinking back, I would have done differently because not only was that bus late, it was we're seeing like each location like for like 5 minutes. It's like you hop off the bus, you take a picture, and on to the next. I should have paid more to have a more complete experience, right? But you live and learn, right? I also did for those of you who's done it, I know there's something called flyover, right? It's basically like a 3D theater where, you're on a kind of like a movable bench. And what happens is, this company, they would do drone shots of the city or the country. And like, for example, I did it in Chicago, and it showed us like the nooks and cranny of Chicago, talk about the history. I did it for Reykjavik in Iceland. It was really, really great. So I didn't have it in this slide, but if you do go to Reykjavik, I highly recommend the flyover. So it's exactly how it sounds like, flyover. All right. One thing about Iceland, they don't have a lot of agriculture. They import a lot of things, so kind of like Alaska. But one thing that they do very well is horses and lamb and sheeps. So the Icelandic horse, they will win multiple awards. Like if you're a big horse person, you can go there and ride their horses. I heard I'm told that they're one of the most beautiful horses in the world. And the lamb. So in Iceland, right, the weather, like everything is very clean. They have the purest water from the glacier flowing to the grass, and the lamb is, the sheep just eat from these beautiful grass and drink beautiful water. So their lamb tastes different. You know how a lot of people talk about the Icelandic hot dogs? their hot dogs are, instead of being made with beef or pork, it's made of lamb. And it's one reason why they're so good. And I think also the secret is the crispy onions they layer. But if you go to Iceland or Norway, try the hot dogs. It does taste better than what we have here in the States. But Reykjavik, Iceland, really, really beautiful city. I love it. If you have the chance, try their national drinks, Brennivin. It's called the Black Death. I was dreading it because I was thinking it's going to be worse than vodka, but it's actually a very great drink. I don't know why people kind of frown upon it. Like I went to order from a bartender, and she's like, "Are you sure you just want to have Brennivin by itself? No Coke?" I'm like, "No, we'll just get it." But it was actually very nice. The food was great. Well, it's very expensive. I would say, thinking back, Northern Europe, Iceland, Norway, everything is so expensive. Like the food, but Iceland, I had a lamb ribeye, which was amazing. Lots of different things. I only have 5 minutes left for Q&A, but that's it for me. Right, Alex, can you go to the next slide? Oh, next slide. So I listed 2026. We have the Norwegian Star doing the same exact itinerary, and then 2027, the Norwegian Prima will go back and do the same itinerary. So for those of you who's felt like you got maybe I convinced you to go to Iceland and Norway. If you're thinking about taking out a group, definitely consider Norwegian. If not, I hope this presentation kind of motivates you to think about going to Iceland, going to Norway. This is one of those things where you have to talk about it to your clients so they will want to go, right? Instead of having them choose, if they're kind of, they're indifferent about where they want to go, I think, and if they're nature lovers, I would definitely recommend a Northern Europe cruise for them. But I truly believe this is okay, Alex, let's just skip it. Let's just go to the last slide. If I have any questions, I'll handle it because I went overtime. But guys, thank you so much for your time. We have 3 minutes for Q&A.
Okay, let's jump right into it. I see I have a client who booked a Norwegian cruise for himself on Dawn in November and emailed me a couple of days ago to ask if I could get him some perks. What are my options?
So your option, reach out to me. I'm very generous with other people's money. I'm happy to extend. I'm happy to expand some perks, like some wine, some chocolates, to your clients. So just email me at tcheng, TCHENG, at ncl.com with the reservation number. Okay. Usually, and guys, you feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to extend that to you. Just keep in mind, let me know at least 2 weeks before your client's sale, because I need time to process it. But just reach out to me. I'm happy to give something for your clients. But if it's a good client, they gave you, like they booked a $10,000, $20,000 cruise with you and you got a good commission, you can also call Norwegian. If you want to pay out of pocket, you can add things to their bookings. Birthday cakes, you can give them onboard credit, you can buy them gifts. So there's a lot of options. But yes, next question.
If they get onboard credit, can it be applied to the more at sea?
No, and that's a great question. So for more at sea, you need to pay it before you get onto the ship. So that's something they won't be able to. So onboard credit usually, when you're on board, you can buy gifts, you can buy specialty dining, buy jewelries and things like that.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Is it included or added to the price for excursions? Someone just asked that. I'm probably missing
So that's
context.
a great question because right in the contemporary cruise line space, shore excursions are usually not included. So for Norwegian, it's not included, and that's why I do recommend booking third party. So for example, Viator is a preferred supplier with Archer Travel. You get a commission booking shore excursions. I know a lot of times, I know if you're a frequent cruiser, every one of us will recommend booking directly with a cruise line because if the shore excursion is running late, the ship will wait for them. But a lot of times, if you actually look for a third party, like I mentioned earlier during the presentation, you actually get better value. Ooh, I'm running late, huh?
Let me see here. I have 2 balcony rooms booked for 7-day inter-island to Hawaii on NCL Pride of America. Is there any advice, tips, or anything I should advise my client to experience?
Definitely fly in early for Honolulu. I would recommend booking the Kualua Ranch. So that's where they film Jurassic Park, and basically every other movie that has a Hawaii scene is booked in that ranch. They have a wonderful tour. You can do zip lining, you can do horseback riding through that ranch. You usually have to book ahead of time, so that's something I recommend. I also recommend that at each port, if they don't want to buy shore excursions, rent a car and they can drive around.
Yeah. All right, that seems to be all the questions. So thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate all your time and all this info. I know the travel agents here are super excited about Norwegian Cruise Line's updates. Got a lot of people saying Iceland is definitely on the bucket list. We got a lot of exciting trips coming up. So just want to thank you again. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening in.
All right, everyone take care.